In the heart of Valeria Falls, dawn's first light slips across red brick streets. Shopkeepers sweep doorways as vendors arrange produce under colorful awnings. At the corner furniture shop, Thomas Miller stands in his dust-smudged canvas apron, gently polishing the surface of a finely crafted oak table. He steps back to admire how the morning sun glints off the wood grain, a small smile of satisfaction touching his lips. Every table, chair, and cabinet he creates bears the sweat of his brow and the promise of security for his wife Linda and their 2 sons. Inside the Miller household's warm kitchen, the aroma of maple syrup drifts around a sturdy pine table. Linda sets down a stack of steaming pancakes, arranged with butter slowly melting at the center. Their elder son, Andrew, sits hunched over, his plate, eyes fixed on the swirl of syrup, while younger brother Lucas leans forward, animatedly describing a friend's antics at school. Thomas enters, lightly brushing flour from his hands as he praises Linda's breakfast. When he asks Andrew what he'd like to eat, Andrew murmurs, "Pancakes." For a moment, Thomas's features soften, but then a flicker of disappointment shadows his eyes, unspoken words of worry for his timid son. Later that morning, shafts of light pierce the woodshop's dusty air. Thomas demonstrates the precise angle of a dovetail joint beneath a bench lamp, voice calm and steady. Lucas stands beside him, hanging on every movement of his father's hands. At the far end, Andrew quietly sweeps wood shavings into a neat pile, broom strokes as meticulous as his father's carving. Each approving nod from Thomas to Lucas sharpens Andrew's awareness of his own silence. The rasp of tool on wood echoes in the cavernous room, and Andrew wonders if one day his own hands might carve something worthy of praise. In the hushed afternoon classroom at Valeria High, Andrew sits before a mathematics test. His pencil shakes as he attempts to solve algebraic equations. Around him, classmates scribble answers with efficient strokes, while Andrew's page fills with erasures and question marks. With each glance at finished papers sliding into the teacher's stack, his chest tightens. When the bell rings, Andrew places his test face down, heart pounding. As other students file out with laughter and chatter, he lingers to stare at the problems he could not conquer, absorbing the quiet judgment of unanswered questions. Back at the shop in the fading light, Andrew attempts to assemble a small walnut stool. His hands tremble. One leg attaches at a crooked angle. Thomas, nearing the bench, frowns at the misalignment. Without raising his voice, he instructs Andrew to remove the leg and start over. Andrew nods, cheeks warm with embarrassment, and carefully unscrews the bolt. Each slow motion of his hands feels heavy as regret, and he worries that every failure chips away at his father's trust. Midday sunlight warms the shop's wooden floor when 2 impeccably dressed men arrive with a leather-bound note. They present it to Andrew without hesitation. Believing it genuine, he unlocks the door. The men wheel out mahogany cabinets and cherrywood chests, their carts groaning under the weight of stolen craftsmanship. Andrew stands still, eyes darting between the fading signatures on the note and the emptying shelves. He wonders if questioning authority would invite more trouble, so he remains silent, each piece of furniture slipping away with his certainty. Thomas returns that evening to an empty showroom. The absence of familiar silhouettes of tables and chairs strikes him like a blow. His face goes pale, then turns to flame. He strides past Andrew without greeting and glares at the barren shelves. In one thunderous voice, he demands an explanation. Andrew's eyes fill with tears as he confesses his mistake. Thomas's features twist with rage and grief at the ruined legacy. Without a word of comfort, he turns on his heel and storms out into the night, leaving Andrew in a cold hush that echoes louder than any scolding. News of the theft and Andrew's role spreads like wildfire. On Main Street, neighbors whisper behind raised hands, and children point as Andrew walks by, head bowed. In his ears, whispers swirl. He let them steal everything. So weak. He couldn't stand up. Each glance feels like a reminder that he belongs nowhere. The same community that once admired his father's work now views Andrew as a cautionary tale of failure and gullibility. At the riverbank beneath towering sycamores, Andrew sits on a mossy rock, legs dangling over the gently flowing water. The late afternoon sky blushes pink and gold. Stones slip through his fingers like regrets, tears tracing silent paths down his cheeks. In a voice barely above the breeze, he tells the river there is nothing left for him in this world. He stands, teetering on the edge, heart pounding. The thought of stepping forward feels both terrifying and relieving. Samuel's rescue, a young disciple named Samuel, carrying a worn satchel, emerges along the river path, humming a gentle hymn. He notices Andrew's rigid figure and approaches quietly, kneeling beside him. With words soft yet firm, he reminds Andrew that life is a gift that even the darkest days cannot take away. He places a steady hand on Andrew's shoulder, guiding him back from the brink. Andrew looks into Samuel's calm eyes and nods, breath returning. Samuel leads Andrew up a winding trail to a rustic cabin perched on a hill. Circling the cabin are towering pines and a small garden where herbs and wildflowers thrive. Inside, Master Elijah, a weathered man with gentle eyes, sits on a wooden bench. He welcomes Andrew with a nod and listens as Andrew pours out his sorrow. No judgment mars the silence. When Andrew finishes, Master Elijah invites him to stay 3 days, offering tasks to rebuild his confidence. A spark of hope alights in Andrew's chest. Master Elijah explains the purpose of each day's task. Day 1 is to speak with 10 strangers. Day 2 is to teach young students teamwork. Day 3 is to confront his father. Andrew's heart trembles at each assignment, but a quiet resolve stirs within him. In Valeria Falls' busy market square, Andrew drafts a list. Converse with 10 strangers. His palms sweat as he approaches the first, an elderly baker stacking loaves. He asks about her morning routine, and she smiles warmly as she recounts years at the oven. With each conversation, styles differ from a bus driver's commute to a florist's daily cares. Andrew's words grow steadier. By the 10th conversation, he stands taller, voice clear, as laughter bubbles from shared stories. Next morning, Master Elijah brings Andrew to a hilltop clearing where children gather. Andrew's heart gallops as he faces eager faces. He begins by sharing how teamwork helped him through life's challenges. With patience, he guides the children through a simple building exercise of stacking stones in a circle. When one rock tips, he encourages them to support each other until the structure stands firm. When the final stone settles, collective cheers ring out, and Andrew realizes his own words carried weight. Dusk falls as Andrew returns to the town's edge where the miller shop once stood. His heartbeat drums in his ears as he steels himself. He finds Thomas repairing a fence by lantern light. Andrew steps forward and, in a voice both humble and strong, apologizes for his mistakes and asks for forgiveness. Silence stretches, then Thomas lowers his hammer. The old lines of anger soften, replaced by something like relief. He embraces Andrew, offering a second chance to rebuild trust and work side by side. Later, back at the Hermitage, Master Elijah reveals that fear more than failure is the true adversary. He explains that courage grows from small acts of bravery and honesty. As Andrew listens, he feels a newfound determination settling in his spirit. He thanks Master Elijah and Samuel, who nod with pride. Several years pass. In Valeria Falls, a celebration unfolds outside the newly restored Miller furniture shop. Andrew, now confident and poised, addresses townspeople eager for his latest design, each piece reflecting both fine craftsmanship and the lessons of community and courage he learned. Thomas and Linda watch with pride as Andrew's gentle smile greets each customer. Lucas, now grown, stands beside his brother, proud of how far the timid boy has come. Andrew Miller's journey from fear to confidence became a legend in Valeria Falls. His story reminds every quiet heart that bravery begins with small steps, speaking to strangers, teaching what one knows, and seeking forgiveness. Through courage and persistence, even the most timid soul can shape a future as solid as the finest oak table.